Hello again. Well, I was supposed to have finished the whole butterfly in the last video, but I didn't. So this is part 2 and the final part of the butterfly on a gin glass. Let us see where we are at. We, you know what I mean by we, I mean me. I am this far and a lot more to do. I've no idea what I'm doing yet. You know how it goes. I've played with sandpaper. I have used the very long carving burr, and because it has very, very sharp edges, because it's never used basically, and it's actually quite rough, coarse diamond grit because of what it's going to be used for. And so let me see if I can find it. This burr, hang on. Okay, diamond right from top to bottom, quite coarse, and I do sell the these, which is similar sort of burr, longer, maybe not quite as coarse, but the main thing is you're using the middle area to carve into the glass, and so often the end of it is not used, and so it's really nice fresh diamond. And I just thought that for those tiny little bright sparkly bits at the ends of the tips of the wings, I thought that would be a good burr to use, and it worked. So it's all about experimenting, playing, and you know, I've been doing this for 39 years now, and I'm still experimenting. I am still learning, and I wish I had more time to experiment and learn, because obviously I do a lot of commercial work, and so jolly good fun. And as I'm doing it, I'm thinking of more and more ideas. And imagine this glass with butterflies all over it. I haven't got time for that, but anyway, you can. Yeah, so not sure what I'm going to do next. There's lots of different areas, little sections of what would be color, if you like, and I'll be shading it, highlighting it, maybe adding some little patterny effects that probably don't exist in real life, and that doesn't matter. I'm trying very hard to loosen up and let myself go, or as I said in the previous video, unravel. And so we will see what comes out in this video. Right, so let's get on with it and enjoy. In the drill is the little white Arkansas, and I'm randomly putting some tiny little dots into the bottom of the wings. So what I will be doing is making it up as I go along, but I will do one side, whatever I do to it, and then pop to the other side and try and make it look similar. Well, mirror image of similar, if you know what I mean. I'm thinking that some of these I will polish out, some of these I might not polish out. The white Arkansas on its own worked dry with a little bit of pressure, not too much, and the drill not going very fast, produces a cute little dent in the glass. Yeah, I gave the thumbs up for a better setup so that the lighting was looking a bit better. So now I am going over the sort of veiny areas with the same little burr. Ultimately, this is a half-tone burr. As you know, it's a pre-polisher, so it's not as bright as a diamond, and I can decide what I want to do with it later on. If I want to make it brighter, I'll run a diamond over it. But if I want it to be a shiny little line that's slightly deeper than the rest of the glass, then I will polish that with a sharp rubber. And it really has a lovely effect when it comes to insect wings. So I've got a small rubber in the drill and I'm polishing out these little the little dots made with the white Arkansas. Now I've decided to choose a green stone, which is slightly brighter than the white Arkansas, and I'm very lightly rubbing it over the polished little dots, and you can see what happens. Now you can imagine this could sort of affect, you could use I sort of imagine some kind of old-fashioned knight's armor. It does look like rivets on metal, so that's given this funky butterfly an interesting effect. Now I'm running a rubber over the top of those little shapes that I've got right on the top of the wings. I've been sort of playing with them, not really sure that I wanted them to look too heavy. So I'm just running the rubber over. The little shapes are still there, but they are slightly more polished out. Now I'm flattening the top of a rat's tail, and again I'm doing a very, very light line across the top of the butterfly. Not all the way along. I do like to well, not completely outline things. You sort of add a little highlight going along the top, but sort of flick it and stop, so that I haven't gone all the way to the end of the wing, just for a bit of variety. And I'll tell you a little secret. I didn't like it, and you'll find that I ran a white Arkansas over it again later on. So I've got the rubber out, and I'm once again polishing those little shapes I did right in the beginning. White Arkansas again, and I am neatening up the edge of the butterfly wings. What I like about neatening the edges with the white Arkansas is that it is a gentle edge, because of that soft tone, and it just neatens them. Just finishes it off. Now, all of my students that I've had over the years, one of the things I say to them is, don't give your animal or whatever your subject a solid outline. And it's a good thing to keep in mind. You don't want your cat to look like a flat object when the edge can actually look more rounded and more real if it is a gentle, softer shade. And you can shade it further, of course. Now, I might break the rules. In fact, I do break the rules an awful lot. But you can do that once you really know what you're doing, and depending on the effects that you want. Very carefully rounding the edges and taking it down the first half of that wing. Now I'm giving the bottom of the wings a more defined little segment shape. You can see the different shade between that really bright diamond and the white Arkansas. Fascinating. It is just the most wonderful little burr. Now I just sharpened the tip of my tiny little rubber and popping it into the middle of those little dots down at the bottom. Instantly polishing them out. Well, not polishing them out to a massive degree, I have to say. I'm just doing it very briefly so they're slightly darker. And then running that greenstone over the top, which leaves the little holes, as you know, they're like little holes, and matching the top of the wing. I think that's rather a fun effect, actually. Now I have got the white Arkansas with a flattened top and cutting some straight lines. As I say, I'm making it up as I go along. It really doesn't matter. If you want to put little squiggles in there, I don't see why not. You know, if you're musical, fill a whole space with a whole lot of little treble clefs. Oh, there's so many things you can do. More little dots. I've become a fan of little dots since coming back from Qatar. The art over there does feature them quite a lot. This, of course, is a lovely, sharp rat's tail. When I say sharp, flattened at the top, so you've got fresh diamonds to play with. You will find that the mirror of these wings is not absolutely identical. But you know what? Just going by your eyes, it's fine. Putting some fine lines, and this actually gives an effect of it almost sticking out. Adding some dots to the edge, it's almost another dimension. This is a sort of a stipple effect. So with a stipple effect, if you add a few more dots, it looks like a brighter area. I think it's coming together quite well, don't you? I suppose initially I had in mind to do something that was more realistic, but I think that glass engraving, it lends itself to so much fun. And with the subject of a butterfly, I think you can really play. It's like two little mini canvases. Going over these little veins, just defining the areas a little bit neater. And because the white arkansas cuts quite well into the glass, the light will pick up that edge. Now, on the original image that I copied, there were these two little blobs here, and I thought I should leave them out really, but I'm actually just going to add them in and play with them a little bit. And more dots. Always turning the glass so that you're comfortable in the direction that you are going to go. I decided to go back to the sandpaper. Now this means that it's a lovely little texture, but of course I will need to go over those edges again. What I was trying to do was blend it a little bit. A quick and easy way. But of course having to redefine those shapes. Using the white arkansas again across the top of the wings. I have spent a fair amount of time in this area, but bear in mind I am not going deep, so I've still got a bit of glass to play with until I am happy with the result. I seem to be spending a long time on there. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, dearie me. Yes, I'm sort of blending an effect. Adding a few more lines into this area. It almost looks like a mini butterfly within the other butterfly. Now I have got a soft grey rubber and I'm going over those bottom areas, just shading. Righto, nice soft rubber, and I'm going over and blending those bottom segments. Adding a darkness into that circular design in the middle of the wings. So now basically it's shading what was the sandpaper effect. There are still many areas in this butterfly that are completely clear glass, and I know you're all going, well, Liz, you always tell us never leave any clear glass, otherwise it looks like it's got holes in it. And yes, I know, I'm breaking my rules again. And it doesn't seem to matter in this. I just kind of looked at this and I liked the contrast, and I didn't want to mess it up, because the soft, gentle hues are very soft. So if I did cover all the blank glass areas, it would lose that contrast. So I decided to leave it. And when you look at it, it doesn't really look like there's holes in this one. Just good contrast. Back with my little sandpaper disc. And just messing around, adding bits here and there. It also almost has like a little airbrush effect. Got to be ever so careful though, because it's quite a flexible little thing, and I kind of test where the engraving is going to be, because it can so easily be misjudged and go out of the lines, and you really don't want that. It's okay within the design, but not over the edge of the wing. Now I've decided to use the rat's tail to add some linear highlights, just the odd line that's bright. Now I've got the pencil rubber out again and just going over some of those veiny lines made with the white arkansas to polish them out nice and dark. But because they are slightly deep, the light will pick them up, and they will be intriguing, delicate lines. I decided the shape, although it didn't matter too much that it wasn't absolutely identical, but the one wing was vastly different to the other wing on that particular area, so I decided to expand the one side a little bit. Now I've got a rubber disc and I'm just pulling down to enhance that shading again. I decided I wanted it a little bit darker, going to the light. I think you can see there the light picking up those edges. I've decided to go over them again. Strange. I'll tell you why I might be doing that, because sometimes if you are running the white arkansas a little bit too fast, it can burn the glass and you get that little effect of almost blistering, and you really need to get rid of it. And that's what may have happened. I know I did have some areas that I was having to deal with. Because this is very delicate glass. I don't know, there's something about very fine, thin glass. I find it burns easily. I might be talking absolute rubbish. It's just my experience of thin glass. Now, what I'm doing here is running an interesting sort of highlight up the middle of the body. Almost like you get if you do the back end of a bee, it has those stripes on it, and yet it also will have a continuous shine from the top to the bottom. And I just decided to do that on this little creature. Back with the little rubber and going over some of those lines to polish them out again. I found as I went along this, there were so many different areas. I was almost getting confused at what I had done and what I hadn't done. It's pretty from the other side. Imagine if you put a name on this side or something like that. Flattening the top of that little rubber. There were some areas, some of those little lines and areas that I wanted to put a bit of shading in. And that is just on the outside of the body. So it's not in one of the white organza's lines. It's literally over the wing engraving, just to shade it a bit. Very subtle. Just putting a little blob and polishing it out. Back to those dots at the bottom, actually, I decided that they did need to be repolished after I'd run the green stone over the top. And of course, the signature and at least the year is what I do. There you go. Well done, and I think quite successful. Very different. Great deal of fun, I have to say. So I hope you enjoyed that. Have a go. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye for now.